Hey, True Believers England team here, and it's Top 10 Tuesday. And this time we talked about the worst. Now we're talking about the blurst or something. So are you foreshadowing, or are you trying to tell us that Hercules is a smoker?
This book is smoking.
I guess so. Yes, it is. All righty. So yeah, we're going to count down the top 10 Avengers, members of the Avengers. Doesn't matter. I didn't put any rules on it last week. I'm not going to be putting any rules on it this week. I think it's kind of cool. I think also you're going to know what era my favorite Avengers are just based on the ones I put up there. That being said, I mean, you know, that's another whole countdown is lineup, right? I mean, you know, but for me, it would have to be in the 150 to 230 era and that's where the Avengers really shine for me.
Same here.
Yeah, let's say hello to Zach Richmond, saying last week with the Zeros. Now we do the Heroes. And of course, Dominic Powell is with us to help us count down. RDV's waiting to go on to his own channel to do a video. He's saying Captain Marvel's the greatest Avenger. Well, she's in the top 10. She is in my top 10. Hey, Sasan, I admire your enthusiasm. Hold up. We're almost there. We're getting to it. We're letting a few more jump on. What's up, two brothers? How you doing, Nerdy Texan? How about you, Dominic? What's your favorite era of Avengers?
It would have to be somewhere between the 90s and the 2000s, but I actually love the 80s. The 80s and the 70s Avengers.
Yeah. Yep, that's where we are as well. All right, you know what? Let's get this thing going because Sasan's already got his number 10 up. So let's hear from Dominic first. Dominic, who was your number 10 on the best Avenger members of all time?
Number 10 would be Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch.
All righty. Now, why would you put her there?
I put her down at number 10 because she's not only a member of Cap's Kooky Quartet, but she's also one of the earliest members of Avengers who happens to be a mutant and wants to seek redemption, just like Clint, Hawkeye.
Okay. All righty. How about? Oh, hold on. Swallow. And how about you, Breen? Where do you go?
All right, a couple things.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, the Avengers haven't really existed in the 21st century, at least not since Disassembled.
Okay.
So I'm sticking to before that, and I have some honorable mentions before we get to number 10.
Let's hear your honorable mentions.
Swordsman, Redemption Arc, Black Panther. These are in no particular order. Hercules, She-Hulk, and Monica Rambeau's Captain Marvel.
Okay. You and I differ on a couple of those, but okay. Let's see. What is your number 10 then? Who starts your countdown?
The Beast.
The Beast.
Because up until that point, for all the changes in the Avengers lineup, one thing they never really had was a guy to loosen everybody up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Hank McCoy. He came in at his most bombastic, and he kind of loosened up everybody. He never really factored in a battle. I mean, there's no clear cut other than his introductory story. He was almost treated in the Avengers the way Spider-Man was by Bendis, only it was so much better written that you never really noticed that he didn't really contribute to many of the victories. But he was the kind of guy that team had needed.
Okay. All righty. Let's see. We've got Sasan saying the Wasp. Great choice right there. And we've got Joe Rogers saying Warbird Carol Danvers. Now, I guess the whole way to tell the difference is Warbird is the black costume Captain Marvel, and Ms. Marvel is the red costume Carol Danvers, or is,
Well,
is that what we're going with? Or
she was Ms. Marvel with the black costume as well. She just changed her name to Warbird for a while.
Okay.
And then went back to Ms. Marvel.
You know what though? I'll put it as Warbird just for the distinction. So if you guys have Ms. Marvel on there and you mean it to be Carol Danvers in the black costume, just say Warbird, and that way I could just kind of combine any kind. So there's no mix up as far as that's concerned. Let's see. Nerdy says I only own Avengers Annual 22. Well, there are some really good Avengers books. Sometimes I have them on sale in the auction. Alrighty. Okay, so let's see. My number 10, as a matter of fact, is Warbird, or the black costume Ms. Marvel. First of all, always dug the costume, and I didn't sexualize her the way all these people think we do. I've never done that. It's like Wonder Woman, okay, was always in the bikini with but it was never like, oh my gosh, She-Hulk's a different story. But Warbird, never, you know. So that always kind of surprised me that people said this. But I did like her character. I thought she was a good, strong character, and a lot of times was used very well, like in Avengers number 200. All righty, and we also got Ant-Man, Scott Lang from Zach Richards. All righty, got that. And then we have, let's see, I've seen the movies and the cartoons here. Well, use that, Nerdy. You know these characters, so pop them in. Yes, that's my opinion, like the black costume better, me too. Scott makes my list, says Zach, because he was dad trying to do the right thing by his kid. Not enough good father figures in storytelling. Plus, Scott is a fun character, and I do agree. And Almighty Jack is putting Namor down as his favorite Avenger. Hello to Ash, saying hi, Avengers fans. I'm playing Friday 13th game. Okay, well, yeah, go on ahead. I don't see how that's relevant, but Beast was a good Avenger, says Dragon Ball. And yeah, I've never sexualized any female superheroes, honest. Well, like I said, She-Hulk. Anyway, I like them green, just like in Star Trek. All righty. Let's move on. Let's go on to number 9. And Dominic, who do you have there?
My number 9 is Quicksilver.
Okay. Why do you pick him?
The reason I picked Quicksilver is because he acted he's the wild card of the Avengers. Even though like he and Wanda are former members of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and they left that team because they couldn't stand Magneto's actions. He still carries the air of an arrogant jerk, but has a hidden heart of gold that can be missed sometimes, every now and then.
All righty. How about you, Eric? Who's your number 9?
Wonder Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hollywood Wonder Man, right?
No. When I first started reading comics, my brother, who had gotten me into it, had a friend that had a bunch of Avengers, and the first old back issue I ever read was number 9. And I thought, man, this character is so cool, but they killed him off. And then when they brought him back about 3 months after I started reading the Avengers, and then didn't keep him as a Zuvumbi, as they were called then, but actually gave him his mind back and had him start hanging out with the team and eventually becoming a member. I just thought that was just awesome. So I've been a huge Wonder Man mark ever since.
I always liked the way that Wonder Man and the Beast interacted with each other. Yeah, I really did. It was almost like one and the one could not exist really without the other in that team. It was just a perfect team up. And I do believe they actually got a one-shot together at one or a miniseries. Yeah, I do remember they put it in. That's why Wonder Man is my number 9 choice as well. Of course, I put down on my list Hollywood just because that little jab at you. But you know, he's a good character all around, no matter what the costume is. I've always liked him. I do. The reason why, though, if I were to point out the Hollywood era, after that, he was a superhero. And I know that sounds weird saying this about an Avenger or anything, but before that, he was an actor who was sometimes an Avenger, and I kind of like that. It's kind of the way like modern day superheroes forgot that there's a public to protect. They're not protecting the public; they're just fighting villains, you know. And that kind of thing always made me like the Marvel universe, that people were trying to eke out a living while being superheroes.
And in the 21st century, Wonder Man has sucked the high hard one. So it's, you know, that's why I say my Avengers era ends in about 2004. Right.
So Joseph Pulford jumped on saying his number 10 was Quasar. And then let's see. Almighty Jack wants to stab us a little bit. I know y'all didn't like Namor for the last show, but he's putting on because Namor is tight. There you go. Joe Rogers saying that his number 9 is Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. From here on in, Captain Marvel will be Monica Rambeau, and Warbird, and then Carol Danvers will be the modern one. If any of y'all pick Carol Danvers as the best Avengers, you will be blocked. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Let's see. Everybody's mentioning the mic went quiet again there, Dom. But Joe's saying his number 9 was the Vision. Dragon Ball Talk just put out Stingray. I wish I was on this panel so I could vote all X-Men characters. Alrighty. Which Quasar? Wendell, poor bastard, got mixed with ego, says Kenise. And Zach saying his is Quicksilver. It was fun seeing a guy who, on the surface, was a pretentious jerk, be a hero and separate himself from his father, Shadow. Yes, Magneto Shadow. Alrighty. And I think I skipped some because I did remember seeing a couple of other ones. Yes. Okay. But Sasan says his is the Vision. And I thought I saw another Vision somewhere. I could be wrong. Nope, Joseph was the Vision. Okay, cool. And Nerdy Texan says his number 9 is Iron Man.
You know, about Quicksilver, what kind of makes him even more compelling is he legitimately turned bad again in the 80s. He was the big bad they fought in one of the Avengers and West Coast Avengers annuals. And he had to redeem himself from that. And I would say that after my era of the Avengers ended, the one character who I remember the most for being compelling was Quicksilver as a teacher at the Avengers Academy. He was the character. He was the adult character that got the most attention, and I thought that might have been one of his best story arcs because he basically he talked a girl out of becoming a supervillain who was basically just using the Academy to learn how to be a supervillain. And so I said, I did like that, one of his arcs.
Cool.
I remember that issue from Avengers Academy, and you're right. It was very compelling. Like that he talked someone out from becoming a supervillain because he saw himself in her.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Almighty Jack saying number 9 is She-Hulk, and Jim Sorensen jumped in saying Goliath, the Clint Barton version, and then number 9 being Cersei. Let's see. Trying to poke fun at Marvel, and E wouldn't roll with it. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were trying to poke fun. I'm just reading off a whole bunch of names. I didn't know that was a jab at Marvel. Although I don't like the fact that they called Namor a mutant. So he's got wings. Big effing deal. Not everybody's a damn mutant. Anyway, how about number 8? What do you have there, Dom?
My number 8 is Beast, Hank McCoy.
All righty. Why did you pick him?
Well, aside from bringing so much levity, leading into the Avengers. Avengers after they go through a tense situation in their adventures. But he was also before Wolverine. He was in a way a bridge between the Avengers and the X-Men. And I also enjoy the friendship between him and Simon Wonderman. And why I saw them interact with each other again in Uncanny Avengers, it brought a smile into my face because I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Alrighty. How about you, Eric? What do you have? Number 8. Who's your number 8?
Before I do that, I said I always wished that Marvel had done a Wonder Man Beast regular series, kind of like they did with Power Man and Iron Fist. I think that would have worked. Don't want it now, but would have loved it. Would have loved it then.
Yeah, now you got to be very careful for what you wish for. Yeah. Sasan is saying his number 8 is Hawkeye. His West Coast Avenger leadership was very impactful. And Joe Rogers said the Black Panther. Eric, who do you have for number 8?
I have Hank Pym, founding member. Obviously went through identity after identity, some more successful than others. Obviously he had his share of problems. Straightened him out with the West Coast Avengers, came back and was a vital team member of both the West Coast Avengers and the regular Avengers. So he stood the test of time, and he was. I said it's some of the best stories that the Avengers ever told. And I'll reference the trial of Yellow Jacket after, which was basically a trial of Hawkeye for killing Egghead, but that story arc just was so brilliantly done, and just the way Hank was written in that storyline cemented his place in my top 10 for all time there.
Okay. Let's see. Almighty Jack jumped in saying Black Widow, and Kenny says I really like that Quasar 2 Great Buseux run. Okay. My number 8 is Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel. She was, like I said before, she was my Captain Marvel. I had read Marvel, as he's being called nowadays, a couple of times, but he never really glommed on. And when I saw Marvel in Amazing Spider-Man Annual, I thought, okay, wow, she's something. And I thought she fit right on in with the Avengers, which is kind of funny because now when they put this new character in the Avengers, I'm like, they haven't earned it. I didn't know better back in the day. And I really enjoyed her character. I thought, well,
she had to prove herself.
Yeah.
She didn't just waltz right in.
We'll continue. You're popping that out there.
I'm saying, so you actually, I'd rather gargle with turpentine than say this. You were right, and you didn't even know it.
Okay.
Because she earned her spot on the team. She went from someone who was just happened to be in a situation in that Spider-Man Annual to becoming an Avenger in training, and then within a couple of years of stories, which would have been a couple months, Marvel time, she's leading the team. So she proved herself.
One of the things that I did dig about her, and I think this is what sealed it, is during the Secret Wars. There were just a couple of really good Ms. or Captain Marvel scenes in there. One, of course, her being hit on by James Rhodes. I kind of liked her blowing that off. And the other, pointing out that someone's force field wasn't invisible. It was transparent. Therefore, she could go through it as energy and all that kind of stuff. I thought they wrote her very well, and I did dig the character. No sexualization, just dug the character, except for that one panel on the boat in the Spider-Man. Yeah, that one panel on the boat in the Spider-Man Annual. Yep. Zach is saying his number 8 is Warbird. I'm just going to put down Warbird for Ms. Marvel, black suit Ms. Marvel. So red suit will be Miss Marvel, Warbird, and then Carol Danvers is the one that I am doubting anybody's going to choose. Yeah, I killed everybody. And yeah, no. Number 8 for Nerdy Texan is the Vision. And oops, I forgot to put mine down here. And let's see, Maranya just jumped on. How you doing, lady? And we've got my choice to include 2 runners-up, Triathlon and the Jack of Hearts. And at number 10, she's got the Black Knight. You don't have the bird because you wouldn't do that to me while I'm doing the show, right? Number 9 for Maranya is Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel. Alrighty. And we have number 8 being the Beast. He's getting a few votes here now, at least at the top of the list. Let's see if he can continue. But we're going to go on to number 7, and everybody still keep going. And if you jumped in a little bit late, you want to be included, just like Maranya did right there. Just make sure you put in your 10, 9, 8, and I'll just add them to the list. For those of you who don't know, I am going to be making a top 10 video over on Old Man Comics. I spent all day long today working on the top 10 black superheroes who deserve a movie before they race swap. And I'm actually going to, I promised to include everybody. So that took a little longer. I don't think I'm going to do that. What I will, though, is include the top 20. And it'll be, so 20 to 10 are the runner-ups and then the 10, because this took forever a day. It really did. All righty. So let's see. At number 8, Joseph says he's got Hank Pym. Agreeing with you there, Eric. And let's see. Then we have number 8 from Are you going a little bit ahead of us? You're on number 7 there, Sasan. Did you? Yeah, you're going a little bit ahead, man. Don't get buried. Are we on number 7 yet? Yeah. I thought we were still on number. We all talked about our number 8s. Oh, okay. All righty. Cool. Who do you have for your number 7, Dominic? Or did you say, and I just didn't write it down because I'm kind of flustered now.
No, don't worry. I didn't say my number 7 of top 10 best Avengers. My number 7 is Jack of Hearts.
All righty. Now, why do you pick Jack of Hearts?
He's a very underrated superhero in the Marvel Universe, and even though he's considered a powerhouse, he never had full control over them, which is why he has to wear his special armor to contain them. But in spite of these limitations, he's willing to use his powers responsibly and be a hero in his own right.
Okay. Yeah, I love his costume, and I hate the fact that brilliant costume is why he's not used so much, because artists can't do the same thing over and over again. Yeah. Hello, kids. All right, so Sasan says Tiger, West Coast Avengers matter. Then we have Joe Rogers saying Hawkeye, Maranya, the Vision. Joseph says She-Hulk. Let's see, Guard the Evil, Johnny Storm. Okay, let's see. Wait, I just realized what you guys are doing. No worries. Nerdy Texas agent. Gosh, he's everything but what he actually is here, isn't he? He's
the Zach Richmond of job titles.
I know, right? Zach says the Vision, an artificial man designed to destroy the team, ends up joining them and falling in love with the Scarlet Witch. Got to dig on that, right? And Almighty Jack says the Hulk. All righty, first vote for the Hulk. Nerdy Texan says Black Panther. All righty. And let's see, A Substance, how you doing? Just read Incredible Hulk number 323, says Zach Richmond, where the Vision has to phase into Bruce and the Hulk's body to keep him from fading out of existence. Cool story. Gee, where did you get that from, Zach? And Dominic jumps from being audible to being possible. Yeah, he knows about the headphones. He's giving it up there, trying to trying to adjust, I'm sure. And Vision is Dragon Ball's number 7. All right. And hello to Dark Admiral. If you guys who just joined want to catch up, just put in your 10, 9, 8, 7. That's where we're standing right now. Eric, what's your number 7?
First, I got to give props to Dragon Ball for the guard reference. That is pulling one so far out of left field. My number 7 is Janet Pym.
Okay.
Again, yeah, original member who went from just absolutely flighty and just there to basically flirt with the other male members of the team, it seemed like, to growing into a strong and capable leader. You know, it's going back to, I mean, her maturity was so well done throughout the book that by the time that she married Hank, and then the problems that they ended up going through, and that she was able to weather that, and also was the team leader on more than one occasion. So her character just really developed well over the years without losing the sense of fun that the character always had.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that she learned to compartmentalize, and that made her a much stronger character and a much more interesting one. Okay.
Let's see. Kenise is saying Hawkeye, and Robert saying Grasshopper from the Great Lakes Avengers. Zach saying well said. Number 8 from Jim Sorensen, kind of cheating, but Beast Wonder Man. You could go Beast and Wonder Man or Beast Wonder Man, but okay. I'll put that down. Alrighty, so let's see. Zach, is that cover where Vision is sticking his head out of the Hulk's body? Yep, yeah, it is. Blue cover. It's actually a pretty cool cover, I think. I don't know. Alrighty, so let's see. My number 7. He's been mentioned before. You mentioned him, Eric, and I do believe so did Dominic. So here's my entry, and that is the Beast, a better Avenger than he ever was in X-Men. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this: Beast has never been a better character than when he was in the Avengers in the late 70s, early 80s. Absolutely fantastic. In his relationship with Wonder Man, they actually gave. I always thought he was like almost like a C or D lister when it came to the X-Men, even when there were only 5 characters. You know, I never thought they did Hank McCoy right. Now, the only thing I would say is a flaw is they kind of forgot he was really smart in the Avengers. They never really played up that part.
That came up in a story.
Okay. But I always loved his interaction with the team. I just thought he was so much better. And, you know, most George Perez art, what you going to do? Yeah, so there you go. But Beast is my number 7. All-righty. And let's see. All righty. So what do you have, Dominic, in your number 6?
My number 6 is Tigra.
All righty. Okay. Why do you pick Tigra?
Well, she's one of my favorite superheroes in the Marvel universe. Not only that, she started off as a human until eventually she became the familiar bikini-clad werecat heroine that we all know, and she's still shown to be a very capable fighter, and she has a fun personality.
Okay. Alrighty, and let's see who's put down. Sasan is saying his number 6 is Scarlet Witch, and Substance D comes in with Wonder Man, and Almighty Jack with Ant-Man. Eric, who do you have down for your number 6?
Sasan is wise. Scarlet Witch.
Alrighty, tell the story.
Well, from her humble beginnings as part of what was later dubbed Cap's Kooky Quartet, in and out of the team for years, but her time when she fell in love with the Vision and kind of went through a bit of a personality metamorphosis where she realized just how crappy, mutants were treated, and anybody that didn't look like them. And I'm just, I'm not just talking about like, straight white men like today. I'm just humanity in general. She developed kind of a hatred for them. And when the first big Avengers Defenders crossover, she won the day because she was the only one that Dormammu couldn't separate from their power. So she's the one that blasted him, knocked the evil eye away from him, dissipated him, and basically saved the day. But the other thing I really liked about her was during the Shooter run, when the team was basically not doing well. I mean, they were winning their battles by as much the villain losing them as the Avengers winning. She called out she called out Iron Man for being a leader in absentia. Then when Captain America kept riding Iron Man for the same thing, she got in his ass and said, well, let's talk about how much help you've been lately. It seems to me the only time you've been effective in battles when you got in my way and prevented me from defeating Nefaria. And then there was this little moment during the second Ultron story where she's walking through a church with Thor. And Thor mentions, he goes, I'm a little uncomfortable in this house of mortal worship where they seem to have little reverence for an Asgardian god of thunder. And she just said, should they? And I thought she was just so well written in those days and a very complex character. Unfortunately, later on, she just kind of blended into the scenery for years after that, which is maybe why they felt she was expendable to become the catalyst for, House of M. I don't know. But, through the 60s and 70s, I thought she was a wonderful character.
Okay. And then no more mutants. Let's see. Who do we have here? We've got Joe Rogers saying Black Widow. And MK's asking who the baseball player is behind you.
Danny McClain.
And he's also saying wasn't Wolverine and Spider-Man Avengers at one point, but I don't think there's any evidence of that. And let's see. Zach is saying Iron Man is his number 6, and Joe is picking the Wasp. And Zach saying it's a shame that Wanda is essentially a living MacGuffin these days. All righty, my number 6. I got to tell you, I like this character because I had Avengers, I believe it was number 20 for a while. And almost a complete run, and I thought, wow, this is a cool team. You have Captain America, you have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which I thought were bad guys. You have Hawkeye. Wait a second, but it was Hawkeye that I kind of glommed onto in that team, and even more so, he was made to be a great hero when he went up against the Collector in the Korvac saga, which I think is the greatest Avenger story ever told. I've always liked Hawkeye up to a certain point in the Marvel universe, until he became dad bod Hawkeye, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I have no evidence of that either.
Yeah, that never happened. By the way, that never happened. Whoop, we lost Dominic. He's more than welcome to come on, or if he just wants to go from the chat from here on. So, yeah, I just think he's a really good Avenger. In all honesty, of everything I don't like about the Ultimates and how they made the Avengers dickheads, I always liked Hawkeye in that one too, because he's the one. It's like he's the one that was talking about how he's got experience, and you rely on superpowers, I rely on skill. There was a little bit of arrogance to that, and I enjoyed it because he was right. You take away everybody else's superpowers, what are they? But, I kind of dug that. So, yeah, Hawkeye makes my number 6. Okay. Let's see. Number 6 for Nerdy Texan was Black Widow. All righty. Let me write that down. And my favorite Avenger is Twiddles. Everybody's favorite Avenger is really Twiddles. And Clint Barton isn't bad either. Da-dum, bum, bum. The Ultimate Hawkeye was a badass dude, ripped out his fingernails to kill his family's attackers. Yes, I dug him in them. So, yes, I did catch your number 7 and 6, Maranya, the Vision and the Scarlet Witch, and I do have them down. All righty, so Dom, are you back with us?
Yes, I am.
Woohoo! What is your number 5, sir?
All right, so my number 5 was a hard choice. Choice between Falcon and Jocasta, and I decided to go with Falcon. Yeah, as my number 5 of top 10 Avengers.
And why and how did he make your list?
Well, he started mainly with Falcon. Falcon, he came from humble beginnings, started as a social worker until eventually he became a superhero, and he over time he developed over the years and was able to earn his key after his interactions with Captain America. Furthermore, he and Steve had been partners in crime for years, not as a sidekick, but as partners because they respect each other that much, which leads into their friendship.
Alrighty. And you had your mic for about 3, 4, maybe 10 seconds tops. If you can work on it, man. Eric, what is your number 5?
Can you get Gail to say it for me?
Oh, well, she's not here. But all together now, Thor! All righty. Why is Thor your number 5, sir?
Original member. And actually, if you go back and go from 1 through the history of the team, he's not there more than he is. And when he's on the team, everything seems to be elevated, the threats, the stakes. And another really nice story arc when I first started, Moondragon was putting the idea in his head that he was basically slumming. And he was dismissing her the whole time until Orca, the killer whale, in his one shining moment, he defeated the Avengers easily, but then Thor defeated him easily. And as he was doing it, he goes, "It's little wonder you were able to defeat my fellow Avengers. They are but mortal after all, while I be far, far more." And then he goes, "Oh, wait a minute." And so he left the team. And that's when they did the thing where the Collector basically kept, bringing him back when they needed him, and he didn't know it after each time. And obviously he's been in and out of the team since then, but he's always, being a founding member, he's always been important to the team, and it seems like he's always there when they need him most, obviously. And so I just, he's no matter who comes and goes, they're the 3 that you always associate with being the Avengers, even if they're not always there. And Thor was not there by far the most of the 3, but he still belongs to the top.
All righty. That is that's good reasoning. Okay, let me get to the time. So Sasan says Henry Pym. Nerdy Texan is saying Hawkeye. Almighty Jack, Black Knight. We've had him mentioned a couple times. Wonder Man from Joseph Pulford. And Krina is saying catching up. Number 10 is the Hulk. Number 9 is Thor. Iron Man is number 8. 7, the Wasp. 6 is Wonder Man. And 5 is Black Widow. Zach Richmond is saying the She-Hulk is his number 5, saying that he always preferred the brains with the gamma radiated strength. And she was easy on the eyes. No sexualization, except for me. Okay, so Krina is saying hello. Hello to Krina. Joe Rogers, his number 5 is Iron Man. Substance D picked Thor, and Maranya says Hawkeye grew into being a leader and a fine team player. And I don't know who Dinosaur is, but I'll write that down. Okay. has the best Avenger name. Sci-Fi George says Wonder Man. Sci-Fi George, put a number next to it. Where does Wonder Man fit? Are you going to start at number 10 and work your way down, or see your number 5? I'm very long-winded, and hey, rock on, man. It's content. Jim Sorensen says his number 5 is the Vision. All righty, and my number 5, much like yours, is a founding member. Not the reason everybody came together, but he was, in my opinion, the center of it. However, you mentioned he was gone more than he was there. For the time I really liked Iron Man, he was not an Avenger. He was a drunk. And that is, so he wasn't one of the Avengers during that time. But for leading up to, I always enjoyed him. I like his character. I like him in the Avengers. I think there needs to be an Iron Man as much as any of the other big 4, sir, not 3. But there you go. We'll get to that one later as well. So I'll explain your mistake. It's okay. I'm just kidding. I know you can flatten me in the Avengers, but there you go. Yeah, but I always enjoyed Iron Man as an Avenger, preferably in the comics where he's actually being a hero and not in the movies where he's causing all the problems they now need to fix. So there you go. Let's see. Sci-Fi George is saying Wonder Man is number 5. Dinosaurs from the Great Lakes Avengers. Yeah, I know. I've read the Great Lakes Avengers. Let's see. Robert, the one from the Superhero Squad cartoon, asking Joseph. And Tehillium's here. Good to see you, to everybody. I think that was Reptile, and says Zach Richmond. So let's move on to number 4. Dominic, who do you have for number 4?
My number 4 is Jocasta.
All righty.
Yeah, so similar to Vision. Vision, she was created by Ultron. It was made to be his bride, right? But that ended up not working well for him. She turned against Ultron, and she's became a loyal member of the Avengers ever since. That's up to where she's one of the teachers in Avengers Academy.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. We have Almighty Jack saying Thor, and Sasan saying his number 4 is Wonder Man. Alrighty. And then we have let's see, number 4 from Krenez, Hawkeye. I grew up practicing archery, so I enjoy the idea of a special trick arrows and no power, says he. Alrighty. How about you, Eric? Who do you put down as your number 4?
Iron Man.
All righty. Please explain to us why, and try to be more articulate than I was.
Once again, founding member, left the team very early, but continued to finance them in his Tony Stark identity. He was another guy that really wasn't on the team all that much in the first 100 or so issues, but when it would come back when needed most, he was there for the big events. Yeah, the trip to, where was it, Olympus, when they had to bring all the Avengers together in issue 100. Then there was the Avengers Defenders War, and then when Thor left, he stayed and was kind of the power of the team with the Vision. And just throughout the years, again, mine ending at a certain point, he was a very powerful and a very valuable member of the team, in addition to, again, like I said before, financing them. But he was also instrumental in when he beat alcoholism. He became Carol's sponsor and got her through hers, and that was covered in both Avengers and in Iron Man. So he's a very complex character, very capable, exceptional hero, and certainly has earned his place at the top of the Avengers pantheon.
And Carol killed him for getting her off the booze.
There's no evidence of that either.
Yeah, right. Because the Avengers haven't been around.
Marvel died in 2012. I don't know what you're talking about.
You think they lived up that long? All righty. So let's see. We've got Nerdy Texan Accountant saying Scarlet Witch. Zach says the Wasp, pretty much for all the reasons Breen mentioned, started out like a flirt and matured throughout the years to be a prominent leader. Joseph Pulford saying Thor. Sci-Fi George counting down says Hawkeye at number 10. Number 9 is Iron Man. Number 8 is Thor. Number 7, Vision. Number 6, Scarlet Witch. Number 5, Wonder Man. And number 4, She-Hulk. And then Maranya saying Wonder Man. Excellent redemption story from villain to hero. Plus the love triangle between Simon and Vision and Wanda was interesting to watch. Beast plus Wonder Man equals best heroes ever. Hollywood Wonder Man is most awesome. Brain can go suck an egg. So that was implied. I wanted to get that out. That was implied in her message. So
you're good at reading between the lines.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a skill. It's a skill, really. It's a curse because you know you notice all the subtext and no text. Jim is saying Spider Woman is on his list at number 4, which I can't argue with. That's a pretty good one. Let's see. Kanista saying my number 4 is Iron Man, non-AI. Damn great leader, stayed with his teammates and not chase bad guys like the other heroes. All right. And my number 4 is Thor because, well, like you said, he is one of the, even though he wasn't around as much, he is one of the originals. He is, in my opinion, the powerhouse of the Avengers. And I got to tell you, if there was just one scene that Thor was used in, it would stick with me, and I would still say he has to be on the list because of it. And that is when they're fighting Ultron and they burst through that wall, and you have Thor there. Ultron, we would have words with the. I love that line, and that right there is like, oh yes, that is so cool. But I've enjoyed him in the Avengers since the beginning. So there you go. All righty, we're going to move on to number 3. Dominic, what do you have?
And number 3 is Bruce Banner, a.k.a. the Incredible Hulk.
All righty. So why is he worthy of being number 3?
Well, he's a founding member of the Avengers. So, similar to Thor, he's not around the team all that much because he has his own adventures in his own title. However, he does come back to the team when he's needed, depending on the circumstances in the events. And as time passed, he was able to overcome his demons that came from his childhood abuse at the hands of his father, and he eventually him and the Hulk come into a more symbiotic relationship as they start to use the Hulk's powers for good and show the world that the Hulk is not a danger.
All righty. Let's see. We have Nerdy Texan saying Thor. Yes, I'm going to do that every time. Sasan says Thor, and Joe Rogers says Black Knight, but Zach says Thor, and then Sci-Fi George says Spectrum, but you know what? She's the real Captain Marvel, so that's how I wrote her down. And we've got Almighty Jack saying Cap America. All righty, Cap America. And who do you have for your number 3, Eric?
The Vision.
Okay. And why do you think that the Vision should be number 3?
I would say if you could take one character to be the heart and soul of the team for the longest amount of time, oddly enough, it's the Android Avenger. Because from the time he was introduced as a creation of Ultron turned against him, with the exception of his honeymoon, he was basically there straight through for the next 200 issues. And went through various changes. There was the time when Graviton basically shut his body down and he had to be fixed again by Hank Pym. to be the one to defeat Nefaria when no one else, including Thor, was able to. There was the time when he kind of got a little touched in the head and decided to subtly take over the world. But while he was doing it in such a benevolent fashion, he set up another Avengers team, basically to get them away from him, so there'd be less people to maybe figure out what he was up to. But still, the results spoke for themselves, and he was just there. And the Scarlet Witch storyline. He was. You open an event. I mean, when they used to do the little boxes in the corner, the character boxes in the corner, for the longest time, it was the Vision. He was. When you see the Avengers, you think the Vision, and so he's, to me, he's top 3 material just for longevity. Thanks, Bendis.
Wait, what?
For killing him.
Bendis killed the Vision?
Well, and Avengers Disassembled. He killed Vision and Hawkeye and Scott Lang and Jack of Hearts, and I didn't know they were popular.
Brian Michael Bendis is one of the worst. Anyway, let's see. We've got Krina saying Tigra. Maranya says Thor. He brought the raw power to the team and was best, in my opinion, as a teammate, not as a solo hero. Joseph Pulford says Tony Stark, Iron Man. Jim Sorensen says the Falcon. James Rhodes I'm putting in as War Machine, but I get it. Let's see. 3 for Substance. Oh, Zach Richmond saying even an android can love. Zach Substance D saying Spider Woman is his number 3 or her number 3. Vision was to the Avengers what Martian Manhunter was to the JLA. Tehillim is saying Bendis kills everything. Ash says Bendis killed every character he ever wrote. And Dark Admiral says like tears lost in the rain. There you go. All righty. Yes, that's pretty cool. Blade Runner quote. My number 3 is another Avengers original member, and that is Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp. No, it's just the Wasp. And for a lot of the reasons you said, and in all honesty, in the 60s, I don't think she was very well written, but not a lot of the women characters were. And but I think she just grew to the point where, in all honesty, I think for most of the time I was reading them, she was the leader of the Avengers, which I didn't know. I always thought Captain America was. So go figure. But I always liked her she's a strong character. She was one of those that they always changed the costume on, which I thought was kind of funny because they did have her doing a fashion show at one point in time with her costumes and such. She stood with the big boys and was one of the most respected heroes. You mentioned the Vision being the Martian Manhunter and being there through all incarnations of the Avengers. The Wasp was through most of it. I mean, I think, wasn't she in it until they killed her in 2006?
She left.
Minus a run? She
left right before the Kree Skrull War and didn't come back until the Beast joined about 45 issues later.
Okay, so there's little same thing as anybody else. There's just little spots of it. She's been through everything. She didn't. I've always loved her as a character. Alrighty, let's go to issue number 2. Issue number 2, character number 2. What do you have, Dominic?
My number 2 is Captain America, Steve Rogers.
Alrighty. Okay, so let's see. Alrighty, Eric, let's go on to yours. What do you have as number 2 while we're waiting for everybody? Sasan says, okay, hold on. Let me get a few of these. Sasan says it's Iron Man. And then we have, let's see, still don't mind Spider-Man as an Avenger, says Zach. Krina says She-Hulk. All righty. And then let's see, Joe Roger says the Wasp. And we have Iron Man from Almighty Jack. And Maranya's like, good. He's getting some love. Let's see. Nerdy Texan says She-Hulk. And Jim is saying the Wasp. And Sci-Fi George, Quicksilver. Okie dokie. How about you? What is your number 2?
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Agreeing with Zach Richmond. Why you? What makes him number 2?
Well, he was introduced to the team as a reformed villain, although we really didn't know for sure if he was. And in the early days, he couldn't understand why the person in charge of the team was a guy with no powers when he thought he'd be better suited for it, a guy with no powers, but a brash and arrogant, egotistical man who ended up becoming Cap's biggest supporter. And they developed a friendship through the years that's remained, well, I'm sure until Bendis killed the friendship too, but that's beside the point. And he, even though his temper would get the better of him and he would leave the team for, whether it was he felt unappreciated or he had to leave because the teammate he'd fallen in love with was in love with somebody else, he always came back. He's the prodigal son of the Avengers. And to the point to where he went from that guy who was always in Cap's face criticizing his leadership to being leadership material enough to be chosen. Now, even though the Vision did it for semi-nefarious reasons, he selected Hawkeye to run that team because, with his computerized mind, so he was best suited for it. So how much, who grew more in the time over the years than Clint Barton as Hawkeye?
Okay. Let's see. Rocky is saying I'm late. Who got picked already? Well, it's your choice. What is your 10 through? We're on 2 right now. Because damn near everybody got picked by somebody. So let's see. Zach is saying Hawkeye, no power, starts and leads his own team and has the balls to talk back to Cap. Plus, yeah, Bendis killed him, but he went out like a boss. Slitherclaw, the Vision storyline you were referencing was the basis for What If Volume 2, issue number 19. What if the Vision conquered the world, or am I thinking of a different storyline?
I think you're right.
Kenise says Thor, I love Magic Warrior leaders with honor. And Maranya, in a shocking choice, says Iron Man is number 2. He was founding member, the bankroller of the Avengers. When he wasn't facing his bottled demon, he was a damn good leader. Plus, he pointed out that the Avengers were diverse. And let's see, Zach saying Clint is, in my opinion, the everyman of the Avengers. I haven't read a lot of the Avengers, says Dark Admiral, but I loved Hawkeye in Old Man Logan and Old Man Hawkeye. And I agree, Old Man Hawkeye was cool. All righty, my number 2 is going to be She-Hulk. I liked her as Savage She-Hulk, but when she got to the Avengers, that's when they really nailed her character. And she, much like the Beast, when the Beast left, she was that character. She was the fun one. Also, she was the powerhouse, but she wasn't a rampaging idiot Hulk that just destroyed everything. She was very focused, and she was her own character, and she wasn't a carbon copy of the Hulk. She was actually a woman with that kind of strength, and not what they made her into. When I say She-Hulk, I am definitely talking about the 80s and 90s version of She-Hulk, right up until Jeff Johns kind of messed her up. But yeah, there you go. I absolutely love She-Hulk. I think if I were to ever confess to a comic book crush, it would be her. So there you go. And we've got Substance saying number 2 was Spider-Man. All righty. And then we get to our number 1 pick for the best Avenger ever. Dominic, who do you have?
My number 1 pick is Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel.
Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel. All righty. Are you going to give us a heads up on why? Or?
Yeah, Yeah. So the reason I placed Monica as number one is in spite of going through many codenames, she always use her powers to fight crime. In addition to serving alongside the Avengers in various incarnations, and she eventually worked her way up and being the leader of the team, just as much as Storm became the leader of the X-Men.
Alrighty. On the other hand, we are getting Sci-Fi George saying Captain America, Steve Rogers, except no substitutes. And then thumbs up for the U.S. Sasan is saying Steve Rogers, every Avenger wanted his approval. Joe Rogers saying Captain America, excuse me. Almighty Jack, Hawkeye. Zach Richmond, Captain America. He represents the best of humanity. And Nerdy says Captain America. So, Eric, why do you think they're picking Captain America with you? I'm guessing, but who is your number one?
Yeah, there really isn't another choice. From the moment he was thawed out during an inexplicable submarine ride, he has exemplified what an Avenger is. He's if I said that I called somebody the heart and soul, the Vision, if he's the heart and soul of the Avengers, Captain America is the heart and soul and the conscience of the Marvel universe. And any team would be fortunate to have him, and it was the Avengers that did. And even though he wasn't always there either, he was gone for some decent chunks of time. But right around the same time that he left. When things in his own book got too constricting, they would write him out of the Avengers because back then they had editing. But he was never too far away that he couldn't come back when he was needed most. And he was the leader of the team several times. I go back to the Korvac saga after he had just laid everybody to waste. It's Captain America who almost beats him just as a man. And whether you want to read into the story or not, that might be like the thing that little bit that maybe convinced Korvac once and for all that to let them all, to bring them all back to life as he was dying was because I think maybe because Captain America showed him the best of humanity, which is what he's always strived to do. Well, until recently, but those didn't happen.
Yeah,
I
would like to point out that most of the choices here are 1990 and before. There are some that are in the 2000s and before, but none in the last 10 years. And I think that's telling, by the way. I think those choices are telling. We do have number one from the Almighty Jack being Hawkeye. And but it goes like this. I read off Sci-Fi George, Sasan, Joe Rogers. Zach says Captain America, he represents the best of humanity. Captain America, Steve Rogers says Nerdy Texas. Steve Rogers, strong leader, embodies the morals and dreams of America. Loved his history as being fish out of water, frozen and brought into another era. Can't go wrong with Stars and Stripes. Black Knight before he comes the Night of Color. I don't get that. Captain America went outside Avengers like Grunwald Run. He will always be my number one, says Kenise. Slitherclaw jumped in and with his top 10. And he says number 10 is Wonder Man. Number 9 is Luke Cage. Number 8, The Beast. Number 7, The Hulk. 6, War Machine. 5, Thor. 4, Captain Marvel. 3, The Vision. 2, Iron Man. And number 1, Cap America. Alrighty. And then let's see. Joseph is saying Cap is the only pick for me. Substance D says Captain America. Jim Sorensen said Thor. Is there 10 worst Avengers coming? That was last week. And let's see, every answer that isn't Cap is wrong. And Morange says Captain America, he is the leader of the Avengers and the linchpin who was able to make the team of second-rate heroes into a first-rate team. The MCU even said he was the first Avenger, not freaking Carol Danvers. Alrighty, Captain Canuck was firing bullets at Nazis 3 years before Captain America, just saying, yeah, nobody paid attention. Number one, Conan, says Ash. Also, the guy fights with a shield, so damn cool. Let's see. Not going to lie, Hawkman was almost number one. Robert is saying Mr. Immortal. Has Marvel even created new characters in the last 10 years? A few, but who cares, right? Yeah, but Captain America doesn't rock purple. That's why he's number 3 and not number 1. All righty. I liked when Falcon became Cap, but Steve is iconic as the leader in the role. Oh, good Lord in heaven. All righty. So there you go. Mine, same. I picked Captain America for all the reasons you said. He's exactly what he's Marvel's Superman. He's what you want superheroes to be. He is a character that when done right, you read and you aspire to be him. Unlike what's going on now where he's just one more in the field. And that's it's shameful, in my opinion, that they give it to a writer that doesn't understand the American ideal, the America, what America was founded on, what America is all about. You don't give the character of Captain America to somebody who doesn't understand America to the point where they hate it. This character for the longest time was who you wanted to be. Maybe you would never achieve it, but he should always be the person you wanted to be.
Okay, I want to say something about that real quick. We always hear there's always been politics in comics, and that's true. The difference being the liberals of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even into the 90s, what they had in common with conservatives is they both loved America.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that about modern day progressives because they don't. And those are the people running Marvel. Those are the people that allow a racist like Ta-Nehisi Coates to write Captain America. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All righty. That's good because I don't want to turn this into a politics thing. So there you go, gang. I've got everybody's choices down here. I'm going to have the first list out tomorrow, and hopefully also the Wonder Woman covers tomorrow on Old Man Comics. Links in the description below. But join us every week for a top 10. I will try to be a bit better about announcing beforehand what we're going to do. I kind of like these members things, but I also want to go to different topics as well, just because. I also appreciate any suggestions and everything, and I am keeping a list. I am writing them down. And there you go. Oh, and Substance D is saying special mention She-Hulk. Shoot, she was my number 2. Actually, I'm surprised. There's a lot of people who picked them. I'm not going to lie to you. When I do this list, Captain America's Captain America wins. Because the scoring is basically this. Number 1 is 10 points. Number 2 is 9. You get the deal going down to 10, which is only 1 point. I was not surprised at who was number 1 for the black superheroes, but I was actually really surprised at who was 2, 3, 4, and so forth and so on. So, yeah, do a top 10 non-Marvel DC characters. You want to do a top 10 independent characters?
Sure.
Okay, Breen says, knowing he's mostly Marvel DC. Dude, you could fill this out.
No. I said that was absolutely.
Okay, so there you go. Next week, top 10 independent comic book created characters. So there you go.
Spoiler, First Comics is going to get plenty of love next week.
All righty. So there you go. But everybody, thank you very much. If you're listening in, you want to put your choices in. I do hit this before. Well, let me change that because that means something different these days. I do come back to this, the list here in order to fill out and make sure that everybody's voices count. So if you do want to be a part of it, just leave your choice in the comment section, not the chat right here. Don't leave it right now, but in the comment section after it's been posted, and your picks will be counted. Thank you very much to Dominic. Thank you very much to Eric for helping out. And as always, guys, thank you very much in the chat for joining in and counting down. Like I said, a video will be made off of this. All the votes do count. And make sure you're subscribed and watching the videos. I'm getting better. In Old Man Comics, links in the description below. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night, gang.
Good night, kids.
See you all.